Hey, it's your boy Bobby Beast here. I want to talk about a subject that comes to mind, and that is why Jukebox betrayed Kanan. When it comes down to it, I know you're saying, how did, Jukebox betrayed Kanan? Well, I'm going to tell you how. When it comes down to it, when she told Rob that Kanan is working with Ronnie, Snap, and Pop, she betrayed him. And I know you're saying, nah, man, she's looking out for her cousin. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, really Jukebox betrayed him. Because when it comes down to it, Rock is not the type of person who you could tell stuff to and she'll be like, okay, or something like that. Rock is going to go to war. She's going to bring things down. She's going to bring noise into the hood, especially when they tell her no, because they're going to tell her no. They're going to say Kanan can do what, he's whatever. He's a grown boy, a grown man. He can do whatever he want to do. And Rock's not going to like that. And I'm going to tell you guys this because I told you this before. Basically, Rock showed her hand earlier in the season. I'm gonna tell you how. When she kept having Famous check on Kanan and she was paying Famous to check on Kanan, especially when she put the gun in his bag, it did things very worse. It was very bad. She thought that she would be getting at Kanan and putting him in the house when really it hurt Kanan, but it hurt her too, because see, now she was like being looked at for the child custody and everything of that nature, which her and Kanan did get through. But at the end of the day, to some degree, that put her on the radar of something. Because if you think the feds are not paying attention when her name is kind of coming up, especially with them looking at Marvin, they ain't looking at Marvin, they looking at Rock. And they're probably aware of the fact that Howard is actually close to Rock. And so with her being on the radar for Kanan bringing a gun to school, they're probably being quiet about it and not saying nothing about it, but they're looking. And so Rock is being watched. We all know that because people was following her. So basically, just like how she pretty much did with that mess by putting the gun in Kanan book bag, that's what's going to happen with this here. In terms of what's going on with Ronnie, Snap, and Pop, basically, Rock is going to do her thing, but she's going to do something to make it worse for everybody else. And how are we going to do that? Basically, the same way the gun blew up in Kanan's face, but it blew up in Rock's face too, that's what's going to happen. So she's going to put everybody at risk. She's not going to think about the fact that people were following her. She's not going to think about the fact that the feds are in town. She's not going to think about the fact that everybody needs to be cool and chill and that the feds are looking into everybody. So much to the point they're not even telling anybody what they're looking into, because if you pay attention, they're not telling Howard anything. They tell Howard what they want him to know. They're not telling him anything that they're possibly aware of. And for all we know, the whole department might be suspicious of Howard. And when it comes down to it, Howard will give Rock up before he falls. So when it comes down to it, yeah, Jukebox betrayed him by doing that. But what was really Jukebox's motivation? When it comes down to it could easily be Aisha. The fact that Kanan and her got a relationship and Kanan really doesn't care. Like, he got some stuff going on. As we saw, he showed up at old girl's apartment, which means that, he got tired of Aisha because he was trying to get with her and do some things with her at the movies, and she wasn't doing any of that. She told Jukebox about it, and Jukebox came to confront Kanan about it. Now, Jukebox technically likes Aisha, but we don't know if Aisha really liked Jukebox like that, because truth be told, even back in the day, girls that was that friendly, that doesn't mean they really like girls. It just mean they're being cool, and we don't know. She probably does like Jukebox. But at the end of the day, her motivations does stem from Aisha, because she showed signs of that earlier when Kanan and Aisha immediately were around one another and they were good and they were getting at it, and Kanan even asked permission to holler at Aisha, and Jukebox gave the permission, though she didn't like it. I don't know really what was her motivation with that. Maybe she didn't want to seem like she was, like, no, I'm against that, or play her hand a little too fast, because her and Aisha have not really engaged in anything that it's kind of like, I like you, you like me, and they kissing or whatever. That's not happening with those two right now. So basically, when it comes down to it, Jukebox didn't really want to play her hand. So a lot of it goes back to her really liking Aisha and her trying to somewhat keep Kanan out of trouble. But truth be told, how can you be like that when you've been growing up around criminals all your life? Your dad used to be a don of your family. Your aunt is now the don of your family, and your uncle is also a gangster. So they grew up around a gangster family. So you can't say that, okay, it's because I don't want Kanan around gangsters. Nah. And you can't say that you can trust family more than you can trust the other gangsters in the street, which means it's a risk either way it goes. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Jukebox does have her own motivations. And as we see Kanan become more cold-hearted and cutthroat, or basically become the Kanan we know him to be in book 1, we're starting to see Jukebox become the Jukebox we know in book 1 as well. And so they're showing very early and very strong signs of the people that they eventually turn into, which means that eventually this means enter Breeze. This means enter Ghost, enter Tommy, and the rest of the crew. But when it comes down to it, that's pretty much me speaking to you guys, telling you what I think is going on with Jukebox and why she betrayed Kanan. But I just want to say to all of you that it is your boy Bobby B's here. I just want to say much love, much respect. Hold it down. And